Hey guys, welcome to the stream space, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today we go over 2024, or I guess 2023, sorry. We haven't even done 2024 yet. I want to skip it with how 23 went. Anyways, so we're here to do a kind of a recap of just some of the games we played with or without you guys, but we wanted to go over what is on our roster and what we're actually expecting to finish, at least in the first couple months of the new year. I'm excited for kind of what's coming. So I'm just going to add two more things to the list here because we did start them. And what's the other one? Horizon Forbidden. Now, our goal is going to be, like, the first couple games we're going to play of the year are games that we have already, but we've dumped a lot of hours into them as it is, so we just haven't actually finished them. Without further ado, I'm just going to put one more on there, because I do have that on my roster for things I'm actually playing, and our backlog is terrible, by the way. We have so many fucking games on the go, but we're trying to take a list-based approach to finishing them off. So without further ado, let's start with what we finished in 2023. So top of the list is Last of Us Part 1 Remake. So that came out, I think it was like late 2022, and a lot of people were like worried that it was just some cash grab, and to an extent, I would almost agree with those sentiments had I not actually played it. It didn't feel like a cash grab. It didn't feel like an old game brought up to a new system. It felt, as they advertised, which was a ground up rebuild of the original game and story. It played just infinitely smoother than any of the previous iterations, and it was as gorgeous as how 2 was presented. And later this month, fun fact, we get Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on the PS5, which I'm absolutely going to be getting. Now, these are not in order. These are just as I wrote them down. Next year will probably be in order, or I'll at least try to make them in order. Next up on the list is Daemon X Machina for the Nintendo Switch. Basically a mech battling game with a very, very convoluted interface. Way too many characters to get attached to, and I mean, actually not a bad story if you were to remove some of the character development they attempted. Not great. Definitely not their best attempt at these types of games. However, mech customization was pretty solid. Gave you a very Armored Core type vibe, which I did really like Armored Core back in the day. And there was other mech games that I really liked. So, I mean, mech games are great. There's not enough of them. So, a lot of fun. I'm going to add another one to the completion list to complete, because I rule warriors. Yeah. Anyways, so next up is Power Rangers Super Legends. We played this with you guys, and yeah, it was that was fun. We got to play through at least an original story with a lot of our favorite Rangers. I mean, obviously the key favorite Ranger wasn't available to play. We actually griped about that there was no Green Ranger, and that was really annoying. But I'm not like, they got Yuri Lowenthal to do a lot of the character voices, and he voiced the Quantum Ranger and then a bunch of other people. You can definitely tell that they only wanted to pay for him. So that was on the PlayStation 2. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond back on the Nintendo Switch. So basically the Diamond remake. We played that one with you guys as well. We played it from start to finish, and then at the end did a funny challenge for Dialga where it's like, let's catch a legendary in the dumbest Pokeball possible, and we ended up doing it with a Quick Ball, but we were like 35 turns in, so we're not sure if its description is accurate, because it's supposed to be more effective the faster you use it, which it was not. We were really far into the fight. That should have been so hard to actually catch him with that. First one we threw, I believe it was, and he went right in. Anyways, so next up is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on the PS5. We played through the campaign. We mainly did a lot of multiplayer stuff with that one. We kept bouncing between multiplayer and the actual campaign. And when we played the third one, which later down the list, we'll talk about that later, we definitely focused a little bit harder on the campaign than we did with 2, but that was an early 2023 finish, along with Last of Us there. Those two were probably finished, I believe, in the same month. We played that one with you guys as well. Watch Dogs Legion, we got that back when the PS5 first came out, and it took us up until earlier late last year to actually finish it off finally. And it's not that it's a bad game, it's just I don't really care about the characters or the story because you don't play as any of those characters, so you don't spend any time with them to get attached, and that's kind of a story problem. So while the concept of the game was great, having being able to control all the different operatives, it kind of sucked that they weren't characters, like they weren't people that your character knew or anything, so why would you care about them? They're just random Londonian citizens. Anyways, Rise to Honor on the PlayStation 2. A lot of these we played with you guys, by the way. You can tell where our focus was. That was the Jet Li led actioner beat 'em up game for that system, and there were some parts that were pretty frustrating, but overall it was a pretty solid little experience, and it was definitely one of the PS2 games at the end of the era there that I didn't actually get to play, so it was kind of fun to go back and actually dive into that for real for once. Next up, now you'd think this would not be on a 33-year-old gamer's list, but here we are. GoldenEye. Yes, the classic, the GOAT, the original and best, or one of the best FPSs, and one of the ones that threw us into a more modern age of first-person shooters. Yes, GoldenEye, N64, that game. We played the Xbox Live Arcade version in about 2.5 hours from start to finish, excluding the secret levels, which I don't count as the main campaign because they're not. You have to play the whole campaign several times just to unlock those. So we weren't going to go that far, but it was pretty exciting to actually play through that game for the first time. Fallen Order. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We finished that closer to the beginning of the year, getting ready for the second one to come out. We were playing it on PC. It was our PC stream at that time. And it was not the first time we've beaten it or even streamed it. We actually played it on 2 other times. I think we streamed every single time too, but this was the PC one. So we did finish that one once again, and still a solid game. PC version was great. I'm not good at PC games though. So anyways. Next up, Jedi Survivor. So kind of like, that's a later game. That's a late in the year finish. We did finish that one after we moved, and it was another fantastic title. It was deeper than the first one, and the story is going in an interesting place, and we're kind of seeing that character, like a lot of character development for Cal himself, as he's trying to figure out, like, how do I stop this giant machine that is the Empire? And kind of coming to terms that he by himself cannot actually do that. And this is going to be interesting to kind of see maybe what we see from him next, because he was kind of on a dark side path at the time of the finishing, like of where the game ended. So who knows? It'd be really cool to see if that's where he's going to go with it. But I digress. Next up was Resident Evil Remake 4. Another fun remake from them. I mean, we've done 2, 3, and 4 on stream, and I would say this one was the most fun because they leaned into the action-heavy elements that made the PS2 version so popular, and I really liked playing through as Leon for once. I mean, he gets one game in 2, he gets this one, and then you don't see him too often throughout the series. Chris and Jill and Claire seem to get a lot more of the spotlight, and it was nice to see, him actually get that. But I'm not really a huge fan of how Ada was towards him. A little too cold. Like, I know she's supposed to be a little on the cold side, but you could tell that, like, they're trying to make it seem like she cares. But anyways, and then there's the Separate Ways DLC, which we haven't played, but we might one day get to it, I guess. DLCs are not important to me, quite frankly. Unless they add to the story, I don't really like dealing with them. Just how I am. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Yeah, we finally finished the main story, beat the Elite Four and everything, next to no time. We're actually running around trying to catch some of the legendaries and stuff, because, those are the ones that can go into Pokemon Home, and, I mean, you can transfer them to other games and stuff, have Mewtwo, Mew, so on and so forth. We can potentially finish that Pokedex if we really want to. because we do have Let's Go Eevee, and that's actually in further down in our list there. Need for Speed Unbound, we played that with you guys, at least at the end there. We did not play through the whole campaign with you, but we did finish the game on stream because, I mean, it's always those last races that they're most intense anyways. Not as slow-paced. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, we finally finished that this year as well. And we even, just, you know, for posterity's sake, we even built the mini Star Destroyer that it came with. One day we'll finish building the Lego X-Wing under my desk. That's been under my desk since sometime in 2022. Anyways, next up from that is Modern Warfare 3. Again, these are not in order, but we did finish the campaign for that, and I mean, as many would say, it is lackluster and a little too short. Kind of ended in a weird place, and then it, you know, with it coming out that it was, because what it was rumored to have been in the first place was an expansion. Then it turned out to be, oh, it's a full game, and then it got revealed that no, it really was just an expansion, and it's some bullshit. Nobody was happy with that. I liked the concept of the open combat missions. That was kind of fun, but don't come at us with a fucking DLC and expect us to not be, like, to be impressed when you actually tell us the truth about it, that it was, you know, not a full game, but you made us pay a full game's price and built it up like a full game. Like, Activision, get your shit together. Seriously. Forspoken, that was a game that it was a private play. You guys weren't on for that one, but I did enjoy it. A lot more than I thought I would. It had some seriously infamous kind of vibes. Graphically, for like people interactions, it wasn't really that great. Like when you were doing like your fights and stuff, it wasn't so bad. Like it looked pretty, but when you were dealing with other characters, the voice acting was pretty bad and the visuals were not great. So the color palette was also a little bit kind of, it detracted from the actual gameplay a little bit. It was kind of like depressing. Pokemon Scarlet. So we did, actually that was this week, we did a long stream where we played through what we had left for the final bosses, and then the League, and then we did the Area Zero component, which was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed that, and getting to see some of the more prehistoric style Pokemon and explaining what the Titans actually were was kind of cool. Spider-Man 2. I mean, we played that with you guys. That was a lot of fun. Nice little twist on how they handled Venom, because that's not normally the route they take. From what I remember, like every story I've ever watched of it's been Eddie Brock. And so to give it to Harry was like, okay, this is new, and then just seeing how it takes over him differently. I mean, it's got a disease in him that it can eat and constantly feed off of, so it doesn't actually kill him, which is nice. Or as nice as it can be. The word nice, I don't know, it's necessarily something you can apply to a symbiote accurately. Anyways. Pokemon Arceus. We did Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I gotta say, as far as Pokemon games go, that one is easily my favorite. Crafting and the way you can catch Pokemon. You can stealth catch, which I wish was a feature they kept in Scarlet and Violet. They did not, and it was really irritating to not have that ability anymore. You could stun them, which was I never bothered to do. And it always felt like, you know, you'd be wandering around, you know, the pre-Hoenn region, when, you know, call it Hisui, but, you know, running around that region was a lot of fun, and getting to see some Pokemon in like a different form or a less evolved form, you know, because they are not quite ancient, but they're definitely older. But getting to see Hoenn before it becomes that, and just how unexplored it is actually pretty awesome. And, you know, now I can run around and catch legendaries and stuff like that, because there's some legendaries in there that I would happily move up to the next game. One thing I'm going to complain about as far as, like, new Pokemon games, though, is that with the DS, you managed to put the complete Pokedex in Pearl and Diamond, and you did that for the remake, but it seems like, you know, you're making brand new games like Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. You're not giving us access to the whole Pokedex, and if you put a little more time into it, you could. and you guys have this platform, like this system, like hopefully by the 2 you guys can start doing that stuff, because it's like I'm tired of them being this weird broken up Pokedex. It's irritating. Can't fucking stand it. Crisis Core Reunion. We didn't play this to completion on the PSP. However, we learned as we played through the one on the PS5 that we got one fight away from the final cutscene and the final event where he fights all the soldiers, or all the Shinra troops, tries to take them all down in an effort to get him and Cloud to safety, and obviously it has a heartbreaking end, and unfortunately PlayStation blocked the scene, which you will hear me ranting about at the end of the video, because I was not impressed that they were still doing that kind of stuff, because I haven't had a modern game have their scene blocked for a while. I mean, I've seen it come up for some things, but not that. That was stupid. Anyways, so I was happy to bring that game to an end, because I mean, now I can say I know the whole story of Zack, and now we're moving into, you know, Final Fantasy Remake, which has we already finished the first part, which we played with you guys, but we actually, I think that was also a last year one. No, that was 22. That was 22. I don't remember exactly what year. I know that we didn't finish it immediately, but we played it start to finish. Like, I actually wouldn't mind doing a bit of a retrospective on like what games we played in previous years and how many we actually bothered to finish. It'll be very, very hard to track though, so we may or may not do that. But yeah, it was nice to get through that story. I would say that the quality of life stuff that they did for the game, like improving how more fluid the combat is and such, that was nice. It made it a lot more playable, and I would compare it more to, like, I don't know, Star Ocean or Tales of Symphonia in terms of how the combat was handled, and that was a move in the right direction. So good on them, seriously. Lastly, and at this exact moment, this is not done. I am not quite finished. But as I'm preparing for this list, it is the one game that I am practically at the end of anyways, and that is Spider-Man Remastered. Now, we played this back on the PS4 when it first came out, and we finished it. We did all the backpacks, all the bases, and then I think all we had left was the labs, and I hated doing them, so I just didn't do them. This time around, I'm probably going to be looking at doing the whole thing, so by the time this video is posted, that will actually be finished, and that will conclude. I will count that as a 2023 year. And then we've got a list of in progress, which we'll go into without as much detail, but this is what I mean by my backlog hates me, by the way. So we've got Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, which we only just started. Pokemon Violet, which we're 7 badges in, so we've got to do some of the extras, like just like last time, we didn't know about the Titans and how you got your abilities from them, so probably break away from the gym challenge and go take care of those, because, I mean, being able to fly and surf and doing rock climbing and stuff is handy when you have your giant robo whatever it is. Miraidon, in that case. I like Miraidon more than Koraidon. But, Pokemon Shining Pearl, we didn't finish that side of it, but back when the game was, like, when it very first came out, when it was on the DS, that is the one we played. I'm trying not to raise the exact same team in that one, but it's hard not to, because, like, your starter, Shinx, and Starly, that's, like, when they're fully evolved, like, they are all excellent Pokemon. So, I mean, it's hard not to, you know, it had a really good roster of starters, too. So, Gotham Knights, which we're partway through the story for. I don't know exactly how far in we are, but we're kind of moving through the mystery and playing through some of the missions, and I'm enjoying it. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not the game that we really wanted from them. I think it should have been a lot closer to, like, the Arkham series and how the countering and everything worked, but, you know, they're doing Rocksteady did what Rocksteady wanted to do, and they're reaping the punishment for it, not reward. I can't say it's a reward. There is no reward. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which obviously that's a Series X first gen release, which we didn't finish. We have started moving through it again. I'm getting all my stealth damage up so that way I can do like actual assassinations in the game and stuff. So it's just not as good as it could be. So Alan Wake. I never played that game back when it first came out, but I really like the universe that it's set in. So games like Quantum Break and Control take place in the same universe. And so Alan Wake being what started that universe. I mean, there is a theory that Max Payne is part of it as well. I think there's some form of documentation that actually confirms that, because he can do the whole bullet time thing. It was one of the first games to really utilize bullet time, by the way, because they had Stranglehold, they had the Max Payne series, they obviously had the Matrix games, but it was like kind of like the pioneer of using it in a game. Movies, obviously the Matrix is where that started, but in the games, in the gaming world, this was the game that kind of kicked it all off. So this is kind of where they started tying the universes together. So I'm excited to go through that, and then maybe we'll do a PC play of the second one, because I'm excited to like playing the first one. I'm playing it on Xbox. So Far Cry 6, we have started a stream for that. We will get back into that. We'll continue from where we left off. Cyberpunk 2077, that's private play, but we are definitely looking at getting back into that. Witcher 3, which we did not even really start playing till last year, and I really enjoyed like the investigations and trying to figure out like what kind of monster you're dealing with and how best to fight them. A lot of fun. RoboCop Rogue City, of course, that one's brand spanking new, just came out. And I'm excited to play through that one, because what I have played a little bit of it is actually a lot of fun. Need for Speed Underground 2? No, I never played the GOAT back in the day. I just tried it on GameCube and sucked at it and didn't want to keep playing it. Now, with actually having some skill in racing, I'm making my way through the campaign of it and actually having a really good time. I'm also going to put the Need for, as a retroactive add-on here, I'm putting Need for Speed Underground 1, because when we move back into our own place, I want to get back into this. Okay, Diablo 4 is the next one in the list. We've gotten through part of the first chapter. We're working our way through it. It's a little bit slow going because I find dungeon crawlers hard to play for long periods of time without friends. So it is what it is. Minecraft Dungeons, we're going to try and finish the first act of that one, or like the actual game of that one. We've had it since it came out, but we didn't finish it. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, we played the first part, and when we do actually dive into that game, we will play it for real with you guys. Horizon Forbidden West, we're about 50% in, like we're halfway through, but we haven't actually finished the story. So Final Fantasy Origins, Strangers of Paradise, we are enjoying it, but we're kind of taking a breather from it because it is significantly harder than other Final Fantasy games. It's very akin to a Souls-like almost in a lot of ways. You do a lot to control their jobs, not so much their leveling, and their I think you can change their equipment to an extent, but I would be excited to see where that one goes, because it's kind of a retelling of the original story. Outer Worlds for from Obsidian Games, or I think it's Sledgehammer. I don't remember which one did it, but basically Fallout in space, but a lot cheekier. It's a lot of fun, but it's also not as good of a game as it could have been for its time. It doesn't feel like a current gen game slash, you know, previous gen, I guess, like, because the current gen is the 5 and the Series X and stuff, but it's like from previous. They put it on Switch, and I don't know how I feel about that. Lastly, and there's probably more for this list, but this is what I'm just gonna do for now, but that's Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Excellent game from what I've played. Takes a nice spin on the newer Zelda titles, continues that animation style, lets you play as characters that you've met throughout the actual like stories for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because I only just met Hestu. He was in Age of Calamity, and you can meet him in Tears of the Kingdom. I don't remember ever seeing him in the first one, though. Maybe he was the guy you give the Koroks to. I don't remember. But anyways, that's kind of a sum up of the last year and some of the things that will be on next year's list. So thanks for checking it out, guys. If you are looking to support the channel, there's a bunch of different ways to do that. You can do liking, following, and subscribing on the two different things that we manage, which is Twitch and YouTube. Twitch is Pidera_74, and since you're watching this, you're already on YouTube. So that subscribe button just right below. Hit that. If you could, if you want to do that, that's awesome. There's some other ways to support the channel too. We actually have a partnership with Dubby Energy. They basically give you an energy drink premix that you get to, you know, add water to, and away you go. We used it throughout our move. It kept us going, and I could say that it's Well, they advertise it as jitter free, and I can say that they live up to that. And I would be happy to. If you want to support the channel, you can just use my creator code, which is actually in our description of our video, but it's Pydera74 if you just want to, you don't ever want to go look at the description of my profile, because that's where all of this extra information is. If you want to support us more directly, you can also use the tip link that's in the same description, and it will be in the description of many of our videos, but if it's not there, go check out the profile, because that's where we've saved it so you guys have easy access to it. And that's the most direct way to support us, but we're happy to do this content, and with or without that, we're going to keep doing it. So thanks for checking out the stream space. I'm Pydera, and I'll see you guys next time.